I'll never forget the moment my phone buzzed with that cruel text. "You're not my son anymore, don't come back." My dad, the man I idolized, sent it at 3 a.m. I was 16, sprawled on my bed in our small Ohio townhouse, heart racing. My stepmom, Karen, had spun a vicious lie, and it cost me everything: home, family, future. Now I'm 29, a successful architect, but the past just came knocking. I grew up in a sleepy suburb of Dayton, Ohio, where the biggest drama was usually who mowed their lawn too early on Sundays. My mom died in a car accident when I was 5, leaving me and Dad Mike to navigate life alone. He was a gruff mechanic, always smelling of motor oil, with a temper that could flare like a spark in a dry field. By the time I was 8, he married Karen, a dental hygienist with a smile too bright to trust. She played the doting stepmom at first, baking cookies, asking about my day, but it was all an act. When their daughter, Lila, was born a year later, the mask came off. Lila was Karen's golden child, her perfect princess, while I became the unwanted extra in their family sitcom. Dad was tough on me, always had been. I'd bring home a solid B in math, and he'd grunt, "Why not an A? You lazy or just stupid?" Meanwhile, Lila could scribble a stick figure, and they'd frame it like it was Picasso. I was a hyper kid, always fidgeting, probably undiagnosed ADHD, but Dad didn't care about excuses. He'd yell, "Why can't you be more like Leela?" while Karen smirked, nodding like I was a lost cause. It stung, but I loved Dad. I kept trying to make him proud, even when it felt impossible. Karen's cruelty was subtle, calculated. She'd forget to pack my lunch for school, leaving me to scrounge vending machine snacks. My favorite hoodie? Shrunk in the wash, oops. She'd move my homework, then tell Dad I was careless when I couldn't find it. I couldn't prove it, but I knew she was sabotaging me. Dad was always at the garage working late, so he never saw it. When I tried telling him, he'd snap, "Stop whining! Karen's a saint for putting up with you." She had him convinced. I was the problem, a troublemaker who couldn't do anything right. Then came the day that broke me. I was 16, walking home through Riverside Park after soccer practice. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the empty playground. That's when I saw Karen near the picnic tables, locked in a heated embrace with some guy. Not a friendly hug, full on, hands everywhere, kissing. I froze, my cleats sinking into the grass. The guy was Mitch, a flashy car salesman who'd come to our house for Karen's book club, tall, tan, always in a tacky suit that screamed midlife crisis. I bolted before they saw me, my stomach churning. "Tell Dad." He'd never believe me. Karen had spent years painting me as a liar. Plus, Lila was 7, Dad's little angel. He'd think I was just stirring up trouble. I kept quiet, but I couldn't unsee it. Then I started noticing things. Lila's curly blonde hair didn't match Dad's dark buzz cut or Karen's mousy brown. Her eyes were a sharp green, like Mitch's, not the hazel of anyone in our family. One night, I overheard Karen on the phone whispering in the kitchen. "He's asking questions, Mitch. You need to stay away for a while." My heart stopped. Lila's fine, but he's getting suspicious. I backed away, my socks silent on the tile. Lila wasn't Dad's. I knew it. Karen knew I knew, and that's when her game got darker. She started hovering, watching me like a hawk. If I played with Lila, helping with her puzzles or reading her a story, Karen would swoop in, yanking her away. "I'll take it from here," she'd say, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Then she'd whisper to Dad, loud enough for me to hear, "He's acting strange around Lila." Dad's eyes would narrow, his jaw tight. I tried staying out of the house, hanging at the library or the soccer field, but it didn't help. Karen told Dad I was sneaking around, probably into drugs. My grades slipped. How could I focus with her lies suffocating me? Nobody asked if I was okay. They just assumed I was trouble. 2 weeks after I saw Karen with Mitch, I came home to chaos. 3 cop cars were parked outside our townhouse, lights flashing. My stomach dropped. Inside, Karen was sobbing on the couch, a tissue pressed to her face, 2 officers nodding sympathetically. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd murdered someone. Lila was upstairs, out of sight. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice shaking. A cop pulled me aside, his voice low. "Karen and Lila say you've been inappropriate with your sister." My brain short-circuited. "What? No, that's a lie," I stammered, but the cop's eyes were cold. They asked sickening questions. Where I touched her? How often did I threaten her? I kept repeating, "I didn't do anything." Karen wailed louder, muttering, I should have seen the signs. Dad wouldn't even look at me. I tried to tell them about Karen and Mitch, how she was framing me because I knew her secret. Big mistake. Dad exploded, screaming that I was a liar, a disgrace, trying to ruin his family out of jealousy. The cops found no evidence, because there was none, but it didn't matter. Dad threw a duffel bag at me. "Pack, you're out, now." His voice was ice. Karen stood behind him, her eyes gleaming with victory. I had 10 minutes to grab my clothes and phone. Lila peeked from the stairs, confused, but Karen pulled her away, whispering, "You're safe now, sweetie." I wanted to scream, to make them see the truth. But what was the point? They'd chosen their side. I walked out into the night, the door slamming behind me. My phone buzzed with that final text from Dad. "You're not my son anymore. Don't come back." I had 23, a half-dead phone, and nowhere to go. The streets of Dayton swallowed me whole. Karen's lie had won, and my life was over, or so I thought. I wandered Dayton's streets that night, my duffel bag cutting into my shoulder, the cold October air biting my face. My phone was dead. No one to call anyway. Karen's lie had stripped me of everything, home, family, even my name. People whispered as I passed, her poison already spreading. I was 16, homeless, and branded a monster. How do you survive that? The first night was the worst. I ended up in an alley behind a gas station, curled up under a cardboard sheet I'd scavenged from a dumpster. The stench of rotting food and motor oil clung to me, and every car that roared by made my heart jump. Was it the cops? Dad, coming, to finish what he started. I didn't sleep, just stared at the stars, wondering how my life had imploded in hours. Karen's smirk haunted me. Her fake tears a knife in my gut. I wanted to scream, to march back and make Dad listen, but what was the point? He'd chosen Lila, chosen Karen, chosen the lie. By morning, my stomach was gnawing itself. My $23 bought, a stale burger and a Coke at a 24-hour diner. The waitress, a tired woman with gray streaks in her hair, gave me a pitying look. "You okay, kid?" she asked, sliding me an extra fry. I nodded, throat too tight to speak. I couldn't stay there, though. Karen had already called my soccer coach, my best friend's mom, even the school principal. Her story was everywhere. I was a predator, a danger. Friends I'd known since kindergarten wouldn't answer my texts. I was radioactive. I found a shelter near the river, a crumbling brick building called Hope House. It smelled of sweat and bleach, packed with men who looked like they'd given up on life. One guy, Reggie, a wiry veteran with a limp, took pity on me. "You're too young for this place," he muttered, tossing me a blanket. He showed me the ropes, how to hide my stuff so it wouldn't get stolen, which soup kitchens didn't ask questions, how to dodge the creeps who preyed on kids like me. Reggie was my lifeline. But even he couldn't fill the hole Dad's betrayal left. "Why didn't he believe me?" I'd whisper at night, my voice breaking. Reggie didn't answer. He just passed me a cigarette, the smoke burning my lungs, as I tried not to cry. Days turned into weeks. I stopped going to school. Too many stares, too many whispers. I tried getting a job, but who hires a 16-year-old with no address and a rumor like that? I started doing odd jobs, washing cars, hauling trash for $1 or $2. Once I stole a loaf of bread from a grocery store. The shame hit harder than the hunger. I'd think about Lila, wondering if she was okay, if Karen was twisting her mind. Too. Did she even know what her mom had done? I wanted to hate her, but she was just a kid, caught in Karen's web like I was. Then came the night that nearly broke me. I was scavenging near a strip mall when 2 guys jumped me. They were older, maybe 20, reeking of beer and rage. "Heard about you, freak!" one sneered, slamming me against a brick wall. My head cracked against it, stars exploding in my vision. They took my bag, my last $5, even my shoes. I crawled behind a dumpster, blood dripping from my lip, and sobbed. Not from the pain, but from the weight of it all. I was nothing, nobody. Karen had won. I thought about ending it. There was a bridge nearby, the water dark and cold. But something stopped me. Maybe it was Reggie's voice in my head. "Keep moving, kid. You're tougher than this." Reggie saved me again a week later. He'd heard about a construction crew in Columbus hiring day laborers, no questions asked. "You gotta get out of Dayton," he said, pressing $30 into my hand. "This town will kill you." His eyes were hard but kind, like he'd seen too much too. Lie. I hugged him. My first human contact in months, and caught a bus to Columbus that night. The city was huge, overwhelming, but it was a fresh start. I slept in a park for 2 days, washing up in a McDonald's bathroom, before I landed a gig hauling bricks at a construction site. The foreman, Carlos, didn't care about my past. "Work hard, you eat," he grunted. I worked until my hands bled, my muscles screaming, but it felt good. Like I was building something, even if it was just a paycheck. That job led to another, then another. I was good with my hands, quick to learn. By 18, I was apprenticing with a carpenter named Joe, a no-nonsense woman who saw something in me. "You got a brain, kid," she said, tossing me a blueprint. "Don't waste it." She taught me to read plans, to see a house not as walls, but as a system, foundation, frame, soul. I soaked it up, studying at night in a rented room the size of a closet. I got my GED scraping through the math with gritted teeth. Every nail I hammered, every exam I passed was a middle finger to Karen, to Dad, to the lie that almost destroyed me, but the past wasn't done with me. One night, I was grabbing a beer at a dive bar when my phone lit up. A Facebook message from an old teammate, Tommy. "Dude, you still alive? Heard some wild stuff." My heart sank. Karen's lie had followed me, a ghost I couldn't outrun. I didn't reply, but it stirred something ugly. Anger. Hate. I wanted to storm back to Dayton, expose Karen, make her pay. But how? I had no proof, just a kid's memory of her kissing Mitch. And Dad? He'd made his choice. Still, the thought of them living their perfect life while I'd fought to survive, it burned. I swore I'd make something of myself, something so big they'd choke on their regret. I was 22, finally standing on my own in Columbus when I met Sarah. She walked into the coffee shop where I was sketching blueprints, her laugh like sunlight cutting through my darkness. I built a life from nothing, new job, new dreams. But could I outrun Karen's lie? Then one email changed everything. My past was back, and it wanted blood. Columbus was my sanctuary, a city big enough to swallow my past. I'd clawed my way up from construction sites to an entry-level architect gig at a small firm thanks to Joe's recommendation. My hands were still calloused, but now I held a pencil, not a hammer. Every design I drafted felt like proof I wasn't the monster Karen made me out to be. But at night, alone in my tiny apartment, the memories crept in. Dad's text, Lila's confused eyes, Karen's smirk. Why did it still hurt so much? I'd survived the streets, but could I ever escape them? Sarah changed everything. She was a barista, studying environmental science with curly red hair and a smile that made my chest ache. One slow afternoon, she slid a coffee across the counter. "You always draw houses?" she asked, eyeing my blueprints. I stammered, yeah, trying to build a future. Smooth, right?" She laughed and we talked for an hour about sustainable design, her love for hiking, my obsession with Frank Lloyd Wright. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as a runaway or a liar, but as me. "You're intense," she teased, scribbling her number on my cup. "Call me sometime." I walked out dizzy, wondering if I deserved this. We started dating, and Sarah became my anchor. She'd drag me to farmers markets, make me try kale smoothies, gross, by the way, and listen when I rambled about work. I told her pieces of my past, but not the whole story. How could I? "Hey, my stepmom framed me as a creep, and my dad kicked me out at 16 isn't first date material." But Sarah sensed the gaps. "You don't talk about family," she said one night, her head on my chest. "Bad history," I mumbled. She squeezed my hand. "You're enough, you know that?" Her words cracked something open, but I couldn't shake the fear. What if she found out? Would she run? Work kept me sane. My boss, Elena, saw potential and pushed me hard. "You've got an eye for space," she'd say, handing me bigger projects. By 25, I was designing custom homes, meeting clients, feeling like I'd made it. Sarah and I moved in together, a cozy loft downtown. We'd cook terrible dinners, laugh at our failures, and plan a future. Kids, a house, maybe a dog. I started to believe I could leave Dayton behind. But the past doesn't stay buried, does it? It was a Tuesday, pouring rain, when the email hit my inbox. I was at the office sketching an eco-friendly cabin when my phone pinged. The sender's name stopped my heart. Mike Thompson. Dad. After 13 years, why now? My hands shook as I opened it. "Son, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. Karen lied. Can we talk?" My stomach twisted. Sorry? After throwing me out? After believing her over me? I wanted to delete it, to scream, but Sarah's voice echoed in my head. "You're enough." Maybe I deserved answers. I showed Sarah the email that night, pacing our loft like a caged animal. "What does he want?" I snapped. "To play happy family now?" Sarah read it, her brow furrowing. "He sounds broken," she said softly. "But you don't owe him anything. What do you want?" I didn't know. Closure? Revenge? To spit in his face? I replied, one line, "Why now?" His response came fast. "Karen's gone. Left me for some guy. Lila's struggling. I need to make this right." Karen gone? Lila struggling? My mind raced. Was this a trick? We met at a diner outside Columbus, neutral ground. I brought Sarah for backup, her hand steadying mine. Dad walked in, older, grayer, his shoulders slumped. No Karen, no Lila. Just him, looking like a man who'd lost everything. "I failed you," he started, voice cracking. "Karen, she admitted it. The lies, the affair, all of it." My jaw dropped. Admitted it? After all these years? "She said you were trouble," he continued, tears in his eyes. "I believed her. I was wrong." I wanted to feel vindicated, but all I felt was rage. "You threw me out!" I shouted, slamming the table. "I was 16. I lived in alleys." Sarah grabbed my arm, grounding me, but the diner went quiet, eyes on us. He begged for forgiveness, said Lila was in college but lost, that Karen had poisoned her too. "She wants to meet you," he said. "She's your sister." Sister? After everything? I laughed, bitter and sharp. "You don't get to decide that now." Sarah leaned in, whispering, "You don't have to do this." But part of me wanted to see Lila. Was she a victim too? Or Karen's mini-me? I agreed to meet, against Sarah's warnings. What was I walking into? I met Lila at a park, my heart pounding like a war drum. She wasn't the kid I remembered, just a 20-year-old stranger with Mitch's green eyes. Dad begged for a family redo, but Karen's shadow loomed. Then Lila dropped a bomb that flipped. Everything. Why was she here? Was it guilt? Or something darker? I wasn't ready for this. Sarah didn't want me to go. "It's a trap," she said, chopping onions for dinner, her knife hitting the board too hard. "They hurt you once. Why risk it again?" She wasn't wrong, but I couldn't let it go. Lila was my sister, wasn't she? Maybe she was as lost as I'd been. "I need to know," I told Sarah, kissing her forehead. She sighed, eyes worried. "Just be careful, okay?" I nodded, but my gut churned. What was I walking into? The park was quiet, a chilly April breeze rustling the trees. I spotted Lila on a bench, clutching a coffee cup, her blonde curls tucked under a beanie. She looked like Mitch, same sharp cheekbones, same piercing gaze. My stomach twisted. Where was the little girl who'd begged me to read her bedtime stories? "Hey," I said, voice rough. She stood, nervous. "Hi. It's been forever." Her voice was soft, but her eyes darted like she was hiding something. We sat, awkward silence, stretching. "Why now?" I asked, echoing my email to Dad. Lila stared at her coffee. "Mom, Karen, she's gone. Left us for that guy, Mitch." My fists clenched. Mitch. The name still burned. "Dad's a mess," she went on. "He told me about you, what she did." Her voice cracked. Was she playing me? "What do you want, Lila?" I snapped. She flinched. I miss my brother." "Brother? After 13 years of silence?" I laughed, sharp and cold. "You were 7 when I left. You don't even know me." Then it came, the bomb. "I know Mom lied," she whispered, eyes wet. "I heard her and Mitch fighting last year. She admitted it, said you saw them, so she made up that story to get you out." My blood ran, cold. Karen confessed. "Why didn't you tell Dad then?" I demanded, standing, my voice rising. Lila shrank back. "I was scared. She's my mom." Scared? I'd been on the streets, fighting to survive, while she stayed silent. "You let me rot," I growled, pacing. "You knew, and you did nothing," Lila sobbed, drawing stares from joggers. "I was a kid too. I didn't understand." Her tears looked real, but Karen's fake crying flashed in my mind. Could I trust her? "I'm sorry," she choked out. "I want to fix this. Dad does too." Fix it? How do you fix a stolen life? I wanted to scream, to shake her, but Sarah's voice echoed. "You're enough." I took a breath. "What does Dad want?" I asked, calmer but cold. She hesitated, then spilled it. "He's broke. The garage went under. He asked if you could help. Maybe alone or... My jaw dropped. Alone? After everything? He wants my money? I laughed, bitter, my voice echoing across the park. He threw me out, believed. I was a monster and now he wants a handout? Lila's face fell. It's not like that, he's sorry. Sorry didn't cut it. I saw red, memories of freezing alleys and stolen shoes flooding back. Then, a twist. There's more, Lila said, voice barely audible. I don't think Dad's my dad. My heart stopped. She'd figured it out. Your hair, your eyes, I said, stunned. They're Mitch's. She nodded, tears streaming. I took a DNA test. Dad doesn't know yet. I'm scared to tell him. Holy hell. Lila wasn't Dad's? The truth I'd carried for years was hers now, too. What do you want from me? I asked, softer, my anger cracking. I don't know, she admitted, hugging herself. I just need someone who gets it. You knew, didn't you? I nodded, throat tight. For a moment, we weren't strangers, just two kids screwed over by Karen. But trust? That was gone. I can't help Dad, I said finally. Not after what he did. Lila's face crumpled, but she nodded. I get it. She stood to leave, then turned. Can we talk again? I didn't answer. Could I let her in? Or was this another knife waiting to strike? I thought Lila's secret was the peak of this nightmare, but then Dad showed up at my office, desperate, with a demand that lit a fuse in me. Karen's lies were unraveling, but a wild twist hit like a freight train. Who was behind it? My world. Flipped again, and I was done playing nice. This was war. I couldn't shake Lila's words. She wasn't Dad's. The DNA test proved it, and now she carried the same truth I'd buried for years. I told Sarah everything, pacing our loft, my voice cracking. She knew Karen lied. Why didn't she speak up? Sarah's eyes narrowed. She's not your responsibility. Protect yourself, babe. She was right, but Lila's tears gnawed at me. Was she a victim too? Or Karen's pawn? I didn't know, and it was driving me insane. 2 weeks later, Dad blindsided me. I was at my firm, finalizing an eco-home design, when Elena buzzed me. Some guy's here. Says he's your dad. My stomach dropped. What now? I found him in the lobby, hunched in a worn jacket, looking a decade older than 55. We need to talk, he rasped, eyes bloodshot. I led him. To a conference room, heart pounding. Make it quick, I said, arms crossed. He didn't sit, just stared at me, desperate. I need your house. My jaw hit the floor. My what? He rushed on, words tumbling. The bank's taking mine. Lila's got nowhere to go. You've got that big loft, right? Just let her stay. You're doing good, son. Son? The word burned. You're joking, right? I laughed, sharp and bitter. You kicked me out at 16, and now you want my home for Lila? His face crumpled, but I saw it. Guilt, not remorse. It's family, he pleaded. Family? Where was family when I ate from dumpsters? I was about to throw him out when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your mail. You'll want to see this. My blood ran cold. Who was this? I stepped away, ignoring Dad's babbling, and opened my email app. An anonymous message waited with an audio file. I hit play, and Karen's voice filled my ears. He's on to us, Mitch. Lila's test. We gotta move the money before Mike finds out. My heart stopped. Money? What money? Then Mitch's voice smug. Relax, babe. The kid's too broke to fight us. I froze, rage boiling. Karen and Mitch were scamming Dad, and Lila knew. I spun on Dad, voice low, deadly. What's Karen been hiding? Money? A scam? His eyes widened, confused. What are you talking about? I played the audio, watching his face drain of color. That's her, he whispered, shaking. She took everything. My savings, the garage loan, gone. He sank into a chair, broken. I should have felt sorry, but I was done with pity. Karen had played us all, and now I had proof. But who sent it? Lila? Someone else? Then, the shocker. The door flew open, and Lila stormed in, eyes wild, clutching her phone. You got it too? She gasped, staring at me. Got what? The audio? Who sent this? I demanded. She shook her head, frantic. I don't know. But there's more. Videos, bank records. Mom and Mitch, they've been laundering money through Dad's shop for years. My mind reeled. Laundering. This wasn't just an affair. It was a crime syndicate. Why didn't you tell me? I roared. Lila flinched. I just found out. I thought I could fix it. Dad looked between us, lost. Lila, you knew? He croaked. She sobbed, collapsing into a chair. Not everything, just pieces. I'm sorry. Sorry? I was done with sorries. This was bigger than us now. I grabbed my phone, dialing Sarah. Babe, it's bad. Real bad. Call our lawyer. She didn't hesitate. On it. Stay safe. Safe? With Karen and Mitch out there pulling strings. I wasn't safe. I was furious. I turned to Lila, my voice steel. You're telling me everything, now. She nodded, trembling, and spilled it all. Mitch's shady deals, Karen's fake tears to keep Dad in line, even a hidden account with $500,000. $500,000. While I'd fought to survive, they'd been living a lie on stolen cash. Dad just sat there, a shell, muttering, my whole life. I didn't care. I had the audio, the truth, and a fire in my gut. Karen was going down, and I'd make sure of it. Karen's scam was unraveling, but I wasn't ready for the final blow. As I closed in, a courtroom showdown exposed every lie, and a jaw-dropping revelation changed everything. My revenge was sweet, but the cost, heart-wrenching. Could I walk away whole? This wasn't just justice. It was a fire that consumed us all. I was a man possessed. That audio file, Karen and Mitch plotting their scam, lit a fuse I couldn't snuff out. Sarah and I met our lawyer, Tanya, a shark in heels, who smelled blood. This is gold, she said, replaying the clip. Wire fraud, money laundering, we've got them. My pulse raced. Karen had stolen my life, Dad's trust, Lila's future. Now I'd take hers. What's next? I asked, fists clenched. Tanya grinned. We turn this over to the feds. Then we sue. Lila was a mess, texting me nonstop. I didn't know how deep it went. Please help me fix this. Help? She'd sat on the truth while I'd been homeless, but her voice, shaky, broken, tugged at me. Was she Karen's puppet or another victim? Sarah wasn't buying it. She's playing you, she warned, rubbing my back as I stared at Lila's texts. Focus on us. Us, our loft, our dreams, our unborn kid. She was 5 months pregnant. I nodded, but the rage wouldn't let go. Karen had to pay. The feds moved fast. Within a week, they raided Karen's new condo in Cincinnati, where she and Mitch were shacked up. I saw it on the news. Handcuffs, flashing cameras, Karen's fake tears useless now. Mitch sang like a canary, spilling years of scams through Dad's garage, $500,000 laundered, another in offshore accounts. Dad called me, voice hollow. It's all gone. My life. A lie. I wanted to feel bad, but his betrayal still stung. You believed her, I said, cold. He hung up, sobbing. The trial was a circus. I took the stand, staring Karen down as I told my story. Her affair, her lies, how she framed me at 16. Her lawyer tried to paint me as a bitter runaway, but Tanya shredded him, waving the audio like a war flag. Lila testified too, her voice trembling. Mom told me to stay quiet. I was scared. The jury gasped when the DNA test dropped. Mitch was her dad, not Mike. Karen's face collapsed, her mask gone. Guilty on all counts. 15 years, no parole. Mitch got 10. Justice? Sure. But it didn't heal the scars. Then, the final twist hit. After sentencing, Lila slipped me a letter in the courthouse hall, her eyes red. Read it alone, she whispered, then vanished into the crowd. I waited till I was home, Sarah beside me to open it. My hands shook. I sent the audio, it read. I found it on Mom's laptop last year. I was too weak to act. But you deserve the truth. I'm sorry, brother. Brother? My throat tightened. Lila had been the anonymous tipster. She'd sparked this whole takedown. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. She'd been a kid, like me, crushed by Karen's lies. Dad showed up at our loft the next day, uninvited, looking like a ghost. I'm selling the house, he mumbled, moving to Florida. Can't stay here. He paused, eyes wet. You were right. About everything. I failed you. I waited for the anger, but it was gone. Just pity remained. Take care, Dad, I said, shutting the door. No forgiveness, no hate, just done. He shuffled, off, a broken man, and I felt Nothing. The aftermath was chaos. Karen's conviction hit the local news, and old neighbors called, apologizing for believing her lies. Too late. Lila moved to Seattle, starting fresh, but her last text lingered. I hope you can forgive me someday. Maybe I would. Maybe not. Sarah gave birth to our daughter, Emma, a month later. Holding her, I swore she'd never know the pain I did. Our loft, once a battleground, was now a home. Pink nursery, star decals, love. But the real explosion? I drove to Dayton one last time, to the park where I'd seen Karen and Mitch. I stood by the picnic tables, the wind carrying ghosts of that day. I'd survived Allie's betrayal, a lie that nearly killed me. Now, I was a father, a husband, an architect building more than houses, a life. I pulled out a photo of 16-year-old me, skinny and scared, and tore it up. The pieces scattered, gone forever. You did it, I whispered, tears falling. Karen's fire had burned me, but I rose from the ashes. And that was my victory. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention and see you on your new adventures.